Hey everybody, y'all, I am so excited today to share my friend Susan with y'all because this is a conversation that y'all are not going to want to miss. Y'all, she has got an awesome story that she's going to talk to us about today. She's a wife, a determined woman, and a total inspiration. Y'all, Susan joins digital marketing, just a few months ago, and she has earned $22,000 just in November. Y'all, that is amazing. I still can't believe that. So that is freaking awesome. But, I know many of y'all are watching because you're looking for a way to support your family, create more freedom, or just finally to say yes to the dreams that you've been putting off. So, y'all, Susan's story is proof that this is possible. I have a story that is not as good as that, but it is still a pretty awesome story to me. But y'all, no matter where you're starting from, you can do this. And y'all, Susan, thank you so much for being here. Your journey is so relatable. And I know it's going to hit home to so many people that just want more for their families and their futures. But so to get started off, I know in September, coming from your background in network marketing, but you've stepped away from that for a while. For what was it, 4 years?
4 years.
What made you say, I'm ready to dive back into doing something, and you chose digital marketing to be your thing?
Well, it was because short answer is I was not living my purpose. And I had done, it's very interesting. I did one-on-one coaching with the famous Bob Proctor of The Secret. I did that in 2013. And so I wondered what my purpose was, and I wrote out my vision for my life. And I just recently found it, and all of it's happened. All of it's come true. So let me just start by saying mindset is everything. And I had gotten married at the end of 2020, and my husband was the sole provider. And I just put myself on autopilot, honestly, because I just was like, I don't need to work. I'm just going to enjoy this married life. The other thing is that we married after 18 days. We met one time in
Oh my gosh.
person. And, but it really felt, I mean, we knew that God had brought us together. We were so equally matched. It was crazy. Part of my retirement was just spending time with him, but I was starting to get really depressed. And I mean, really, really depressed to the point of suicidal ideation.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and it was not just a little bit, it was constant. And I was sharing that with my husband, but anyway, so I wasn't living my purpose, and I realize that now. So I started to look for something online, but I knew I could not go back to network marketing because that was a grind. That was like a full-time job. I made seven figures in that industry. And, I'm very grateful for that for a number of reasons, but I could not go back because of the grind. I didn't want to have to constantly hold hands and coach people and have my head in my phone all day.
Right.
So I was ready for a change. And I looked at many different digital marketing programs, but this one really stood out because it's not like, hey, here's your course, good luck, see ya. And then that course is either already obsolete or it's obsolete in 3 to 6 months. I really wanted something unique, and I wanted something that was a high ticket item.
Right.
So, and I was tired of getting like the little scraps of network marketing, the 20-30% commission for all of the work that you have to put in order to actually be successful, you
Right.
know.
I can totally relate to that. I was in network marketing for 5 years prior to this, and I get that grind. It was like all day long. And that building teams and messaging, chasing customers, all the weird feeling messages. Yeah, I don't miss any of that.
No, me neither.
So, for people who might be on the fence, what would you say to someone wondering if they are ready to start? Like, if, what would you tell them?
Well, here's what I love. This is really something that anyone can do. And I say that because of the community.
Mhm.
And that almost sounds like a little cultish when we talk about it, but literally everyone that I've brought in is that's the first thing they comment on. It's like, wow, this community, because we are almost 50,000 people strong at this point. And the training that we get, my goodness, I mean, it is ongoing. There are 4 Zooms a week that you can plug into for various things, including mindset, which I
Mhm.
mentioned earlier is a huge component of success. Because if you don't have your mindset right, if you're stuck in that place of, I can't, I might fail, I don't have the money on it, like all of these things, those are blocks. And
Mhm.
so until you rid yourself of those blocks, it's very hard to move forward. But our program includes training on that. And
Yeah.
then just all the ongoing, like the 90-day runs. I love that we're
Mhm.
always in a 90-day run. So every single day, Michelle O'Neill, who's a multimillionaire now because of this program,
I
she
know.
does like these little 5 to 10 minute videos that are so helpful. So I know that if you just plug in, and that's everyone's own responsibility, but that's what I did. I plugged in and I studied, just studied. And I did that for 3.5 weeks. And then at the end of October was when I finally made my first post. So anyone can do this. And we've got people from 18 to 85 years old who are in here and running with it and having a blast.
Right. So you mentioned studying 3 weeks for before jumping in and making that first post, but what did that look like for you? And why did you wait 3 weeks? Like when I first started, I was just like, I made my first post before I even had my system set up. So why did you wait?
I think that it's just my personality. I'm super analytical and I like to know what I'm talking about before I go out there because I do have like 15,000 followers. I mean, I've got like 5,000 friends and I've got almost 11,000 followers. And so I feel like I have an obligation to them to really understand what I'm promoting before I promote it. But that's just me. Many people don't, and we actually shouldn't do that. But I did, and I just spent my time just watching videos and getting into the training and really understanding it.
Right. No rush, right? Because it's all going to
Yeah,
be in play.
it's
And
not
it,
going to go anywhere.
right.
And I also have the attitude that I mean, I know there's more than enough to go around. I mean, how many billion people are in the world? So I knew I wasn't in competition with anyone. It was just I wanted to make sure that I personally understood everything.
Well, that's awesome. So if someone's watching and feels like they don't know where to start, like what's one piece of advice that you'd give them to take that first step?
As far as when they joined the
Yeah,
program,
like to just
to
take
get going.
to get going, just to make the decision to say, I want to do this.
Okay, to make the decision, because I think I understand your question. And if I don't, reroute me. To make the decision, that comes from the
Mindset.
point of being like, I'm done. I need extra money. We don't have enough to cover the bills. Um, those types of things, like for me years ago, it was getting out of a very toxic marriage. And so that was the reason that I got into network marketing because I had to find a way out because I couldn't stay. I had been there 20 years. I couldn't do it anymore. So really, it's like, where are you? What do you want? And that's what I really ask people when I talk to them about this. If we do get a chance to have that conversation, it's like, where are you now and what do you want? Now, once they're in the program, I just plug them into the system. It says get started here. And that's right where I tell them to go. And then I tell them to plug into the 90-day runs. And then I tell, go back and watch the training on Chat GPT. My goodness, like Chat GPT has completely altered my life. And the training on everything that we do is just top notch.
I know, and I just love it. I've paid for and have done so many trainings throughout network marketing, and
Mm-hmm.
nothing beats this. It's like
Nothing.
no, I can't.
Nothing.
Like you said earlier, you get, usually it's a PDF, and it goes away, like I
Yeah.
love that we're constantly getting updated stuff because it's every
Yes.
day, every week, and
Yeah. And it's a system. Like in network marketing, they're always talking about systems of operation. I never found one, like it was very disorganized and
Mhm.
just not the same. Whereas here we truly have a system that is just plug and play. So I love it. And I've never seen anything like it. And, I don't want to bash MLM for,
Oh no.
anyone who's in any business, whether it's a floral shop or, a landscaping company, or I have a real estate agent who's joined me. This content can be used to promote anything, including an MLM business. So that's what I love about it too. It's like, this isn't just to sell this program. This is really for any type of business.
Mhm. Yeah, I know. I love that too because I always say there's like three different type of people that can do this. It's like you said, the people that have a small business already, people that want to have something, whether it's an e-learning tool or making their own program, or just somebody like me that's looking for something already done. You just stamp your
Yep.
name on it and promote it, and you get
Yeah.
the resale rights, and it's just,
Yep.
I love that. But
Yeah.
so what does your husband think about all this? Like, I know in a previous conversation we had talked about, you was saying that his income had been kind of
Yeah.
slashed. And, I know that's so relatable to so many
Oh
people
my
and
gosh.
myself. That's why I
Well,
chose this 6 months ago, because my husband did the same thing.
yeah. And it was a complete shock for us because, we relocated from Texas to here to Montana, and he is a world renowned dentist. He actually holds patents for laser dentistry, and people, when he owned his own practice, flew from all over the world to have him work on them. He's an amazing dentist. He went out of retirement and sold his practice, and then what happened was that some long-term investments that we have taken longer to mature than we thought. And
Mhm.
so he needed to go back to work. So we moved up here because he's from here. His kids are here. Our grandkids are here. And so, it just made sense to come back to the Whitefish area. And then over a period of just a few months, just the slashes were happening with pay, with the amount of hours, a number of things. So at the same time that I was getting super depressed and looking for something, was the same time, well, my depression had been going on for a couple of years, but then his work situation really demanded that something change. And so I knew that I could do it because I've done it before. And I knew that if I could just plug back into my training, the things that I know to do,
Right.
that I could flip that script immediately and do it. So I'm a real go getter and I don't quit. Like, I am very competitive, and I love what I'm doing now. So, but yeah, it has absolutely saved our household. And he at first was super skeptical. He's done network marketing before himself because his kids were big in one of the big companies, but he was skeptical. I mean, he was just like, "Are you sure we should spend this money?" Like, just unsure. And then for the first 3.5 weeks, he was really pushing me, like, "You need to make a sale. Like, when are you going to make a sale?" And blah, blah, blah. And I told him, I said, "Please stop. That is negative energy.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm not here to make a sale. I am here to help people.
Right.
Okay. So if you come at me with that type of energy, I'm like, stop, So I had to kind of retrain him a little bit. But now he's very supportive and he sees the long term vision, and he's very, very supportive now.
Yeah. So when you said it took you 3.5 weeks to get started. How long did it take you before you got your first sale?
So I joined September 26th and I made my first post on Facebook around the 14th or 15th, I believe, of October. And then I had two sales in October. And, it's like I was hitting up my warm market. Keep in mind, I really hadn't plugged into the groups. I wasn't being actively, I wasn't doing what I should do on Facebook, which we learn all of that, right? But I wasn't doing that. I was just touching my warm market. And I know that they were all kind of waiting to see, like, okay, is she going to make any money with this? Like, you know, what is this? Is this going to work for her? So once I had made those first couple of sales, my audience was like, okay, now I'm ready to listen. And then it just exploded, from there.
Right. That is awesome. So I know there's so many women out there watching this and just feeling stuck, and maybe they need a little support in their family financially, or just to add to their retirement fund, or maybe they just don't even know where to start. So what would you
Mhm.
say to those people?
I would just say, do this. Like, this is something anyone can do. And don't ever get into the comparison game. Don't start comparing yourself to me or to any top earners in this company, because it is a process and everyone starts from a unique place. But what I love are stories of like Daryl, who was homeless, living in his car or in the woods in January of this year, and has now made over $300,000 and is living his dream and supporting his family. And then I can't remember her name, but there's another gal in our organization. She was living in a tent.
Yeah, yeah,
She
I
was
remember that
she was
story.
homeless as well, and she started from nothing, and so did Daryl, and so did a lot of people start with no experience, zero following, don't even have social media accounts, and they make it. Okay. So I look at that and say, if they can do it, I can do it too. That's
Right.
just my attitude. And I do think that anyone who plugs in, and that's ultimately up to each person to
Mhm.
plug into the training and stick with it, because you may not make your first sale immediately. I love the story of the gentleman who for 3 months didn't make a sale, but he kept plugging in and now he's made several $100,000, and if he had quit, he wouldn't be living the life he's living now. So stick with it. This is not a get rich quick. This is really a long-term plan
Right.
that we are implementing to grow and continue to grow and expand and all of that. So this is not just oh, hey, I'm going to jump in and make a few $100. This is really a long-term plan for retirement for many.
Right. And that's my goal, is to retire my husband with it. So,
Yes.
but there are so many stories, that just is so inspiring. I love Victoria's story. She was a
Yeah.
struggling boutique owner, and just, there's so many that's relatable. But, a lot of people say they don't have time to start something new. And, if someone has 2 to 3 hours a day, how would you recommend that they spend that time building, like once they start their program, building momentum in their business for like a
Well, I
beginner?
love I love Amy's story. She was working 16 hours a day. She had two jobs, I think three kids at home, no support from her ex-husband or ex-partner. And yeah, and she started just plugging in the pockets of her day. She didn't have like two consecutive hours. She would plug in and listen to mindset training or just the daily training. She would listen to plug into something every spare moment.
Right.
If she was cooking dinner, she had her AirPods in and she's listening, she's plugging in. So she did not let that lack of time stop her. And I do think that when you are done enough, when you're done being done, and when you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, when you feel backed into a corner and you want out bad enough, you will find that time. And that's the thing. You can you can plug into so many different types of training in the pockets of your day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I have a friend that she watched me for like 3 months before she decided to dive into this.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a little bit of medical issues come up, so she didn't get to get started right away. But
Mm-hmm.
this girl works 3 jobs. Her husband
Wow.
works 2 jobs, and
Oh,
she needed, there was times, weeks that they couldn't buy groceries, and
oh my
it
gosh.
was very stressful for her. And she decided to do it, and she did it on payment plan, and she has been able to quit one of those jobs, pay off some of that medical debt, and is just starting to be able to enjoy her family more. And it's just such a blessing to me to have been able to help her, give her that opportunity, only because somebody else shared the opportunity with me.
That's
And that's
right.
the beauty of social media is,
Yes.
that everything's digital.
Yeah.
Everybody's online these days. So
Yeah.
it's, to me, it's kind of like a no-brainer to have your business online too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the world is going digital and it's been digital, but it's going to explode the digital space, and the digital learning opportunities are what I think expected to double next year, if I'm not mistaken.
3 billion by 2027.
Yeah, 3 billion with the B by 2027. I mean, we are right at the cusp of that. So I kind of feel like, okay, it's now or I'm going to get in late. You know,
Right,
I see where it's going and I understand that. So it was like, okay, I'm jumping in on this
right.
for sure.
You
Yeah.
know, I love that it costs less than our cell phone to have our own business that's built
Yeah,
already, done for us.
right here.
We don't have to do
Yeah.
anything. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
It's
I owned a brick and mortar business, a medical spa, for many years. It owned me. It owned me. I mean, it was a 12-hour a day job for me. I mean, my employees got paid really well, and then I got the scraps. And in the end, the crash of 2008 just killed me. Um, man, I mean, that costs so much. Like several $100,000, to get started, and taking out those business loans and all of that. This is a no-brainer, especially with the payment plans available. It's
right.
so not, it's crazy not to do it.
So your story is amazing, but so what's next for you, Susan? Any big goals or dreams that you're working towards? As you keep growing this business?
Yeah. So I am going to be adding this, to my business, a tremendous amount of additional AI help, because artificial intelligence is huge. So I've always learned, and I learned this from my dad, you know, to make money, you got to pay money. Like you don't
Hmm.
get something for nothing, and to always reinvest back into your business. So instead of going out and buying the fancy stuff, like I actually owned 2 years ago, my husband bought me my dream car, which was a convertible Bentley. It was
Wow.
brand new. And I loved it. And it was fast and it was fun and all that. But it's like, okay, like a week later, it was just sitting in the garage. And I was like, great, I have a Bentley, but so what? It's like now I want to have experiences. I'm almost 58 years old. My husband is 67. So we want to have experiences. So I'm going to be doing a lot more AI. But the other big thing that my goal is start to expand and help people more with their mindset with the training that I've had. And I didn't even mention or go into the other training I had I was actually VP of one of Rod Hairston's companies. And Rod Hairston was Tony Robbins' right hand for over 20 years. And
Wow.
he was my mentor. Like I stayed at his ranch and we're very close friends. And I coached people through his program. So I'm going to be diving back into that with the pocket coaching. But then I'm going to be launching a much bigger, deeper coaching program that will have like one Zoom a week to help people break out of those false belief systems, because that's really at the end of the day, if your mind is not right, you're going to have blocks. So my goal has always been to help people. And so that's where I'm going this year.
That is awesome. That is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story today. It's such a great example of what's possible when you put your mind to something and you just go for it.
Yep.
And, I know your story is going to inspire so many people, moms that just want to have that extra stream of income or even replace their income they have already, because they just need things. They want more time freedom and financial freedom and all those things. So I know it's going to touch those people today. But for all of y'all watching, Susan's story is amazing. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And it's just awesome. And I appreciate your time so much for joining us today. And I hope that you have an awesome Friday.
Thank you. You too. And we'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, we will. Thanks, girl.
All right.